So great to have you here in the BWT India studio.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. We're happy to have been today and tomorrow in your CoWrks, Worley.
Right.
I mean, I guess just start off by maybe just giving us a bit more about information on CoWrks and your focus.
Yeah, sure. So we're a large format co-working operator, and we operate in the premium segment in India. And I think we've had tremendous scale in the last 2 years. We already have about 23,000 members across 5 cities in India. And this year we're going to be growing from 23,000 all the way up to 75,000 members across 10 cities. So it's been an exciting journey. And I think the role of technology is very important for us. We consider ourselves a technology company first that happens to be in co-working. So I think BWT and in the work that you guys are doing is great. It's very important for the ecosystem and very important in not only educating the country the importance of prop tech, but we're happy to be here and happy to work with you guys.
Fantastic, yeah. We've been quite honoured to obviously use such an innovative space over the last couple of days, and you're obviously one of the leaders in India when it comes to flexible working space and innovation for that matter. In terms of India on a global scale, I mean, where do you sort of see India positioned?
So I think there's two things that have come as realizations in operating flexible space in India. One is that there's very few differences in the product. I think the learnings that you have, or the way that co-working operators have iterated the product and are learning from the customers are very global in their thinking. And it's the same large enterprise and the same Fortune 500 companies that have very similar needs as they go from country to country. And the only thing that really changes is they localize for local culture. But so really 95% of everything that you do is similar. But what that also means is that everything we're doing in India and everybody's doing in the flexible workspace industry in India is not so different from what happens in the West, because the customer is as demanding everywhere. So that's great, because in other industries you see there's a lag of a couple of years, but in co-working you don't really see that lag. From an aesthetic standpoint, from a technology standpoint, from an efficiency and space planning standpoint, it's literally neck and neck. And in some of the best co-working spaces in the world, some of the spaces you see in India and some of the spaces we have, it ranks right up there. That's been great. But what's also great is that in this industry, it's not only local competition and it's not only local benchmarks that each operator or each competitor measures themselves to do, but it's always a global benchmark. And that keeps everybody on edge. You're always aware of what's happening in different parts of the world. Every time a new co-working operator pops up in some remote part of somewhere in the world, in Europe, in Asia, in South America, we're well aware of it. And everybody's keeping tabs on everyone else, and everybody's keeping tabs on who's doing what right. And that is something that is unlike a lot of other industries. It's unlike other sectors in real estate, where it's far more local and your whole ecosystem and your whole universe is more local. Here, our universe is literally on a global scale.
Great. So obviously expansion would be on the cards then?
Absolutely. We're looking at not only a large amount of local expansion across different cities in India, but we're looking at some international expansion as well. Looking forward to bringing our product and our capabilities into Europe, into Southeast Asia very soon.
Fantastic. Well, looking forward to it. Over the last sort of day, in terms of the event, BWT India, what have you found the attendees like that you've obviously been interacting with?
I think the first observation is that the attendees seem very curated. Everybody that's here is pretty well aware of what's happening, is aware of the ecosystem, is aware of what's happening in PropTech, and that's one way to look at it, but it also means that all of the people that are aware there's a lot more education we have to do in India around PropTech and around the massive opportunities in this space and in this industry. While we have a long way to go and we're just scratching the surface, I think we have the right foundation, the right platform, the right people backing their opportunities and pursuing these opportunities. And when you have the right people that act as influencers of sorts within this industry, you have the rest of the industry following. So I think what we're going to see over the next 2 years, and every time we see BWT back in India for the next event, and every event after that, you're going to see the size of the ecosystem growing, and that's going to reflect in the number of participants that are here and how engaged they are as well.
Fantastic. Well, we're looking forward to obviously growing BWT India too.
We're looking forward hopefully to doing that with you.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of the developers and changing their mindset, do you think, I mean, obviously there's a lot of traditional sort of developers who might be a bit sort of slow in adopting technology. Do you think that's slowly starting to change?
It's definitely starting to change. I wouldn't even say slowly. I think real estate around the world is led by organizations or led by leadership teams or promoters that have historically had little reason to change. It's come because real estate it's a very deep, very massive industry. It's in some cases one of the largest industries in the world based on which metric you're looking at. So as a result of that, and if you look at India is right now the hottest market in the world, at least let's say on the office leasing side, so based on annual absorption. So when you have so much demand, there's very little reason for developers to start to innovate or start to iterate or mold or adapt their product, because for every version of their product, they already have customers. But the reason I think a lot of them are changing is because at the same time that they may have little reason currently to change because there's so many people pursuing a certain space, the customers are becoming more demanding, as they should, and customers being large companies are becoming demanding because their employees have different needs that are starting to change. So really the focus on employees is what's driving a lot of developers to start to change their strategy. And I think that's going to be great for the ecosystem, because real estate has been an industry where you can get away with somewhat following your customers and you'll still do pretty well in India because the market is so huge and there's opportunity for everyone. But as you start to chase customers, you're able to sustain a higher pace of growth, and you're able to start to think like technology companies as constantly start to iterate their product based on responses from customers, based on new data, based on new information. They're able to iterate their UI simply to serve a new customer need. They're able to do that overnight. Real estate developers are starting to think about how they can do that with physical spaces. And as much as it was something it's difficult, it's not impossible, but it's become a top priority for them to stay agile, to stay nimble, to be able to serve needs very quickly.
And I mean, I just guess I won't keep you for too much longer. Just in closing, what would you, just in one sentence, how would you describe the event?
I think the event is engaging, it's thought-provoking, and I think we're surrounded with the right people, and the dialogue is meaningful, and there's a lot of people that have very great, impactful takeaways from this, and it's left a lot of people thinking. In spite of the fact that we have right people in the room, if you can get all the right people that are already on the right track to think about whether they're doing it right, then we're doing something right here.
Fantastic. Well, Sid, thanks for having us here at CoWrks, and enjoy the rest of the event.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Thank you for having me. Thanks.